So the Chase Sapphire Preferred is one of those cards that I and a lot of people have been critical on for the last few years, but I realized recently that there are a lot of hidden secret superpowers on this credit card that actually allow me to kind of love it and want to keep it open for many, many years to come. And so for a card that once was for me, just get the card, get the welcome offer, and then get out, to now a borderline keeper card, you might be wondering, like, where is all of this secret power? Because I've never seen it. And so let's talk about it today. Now, firstly, I'm assuming everybody who's watching this has already taken up the 100K offer, but for those who haven't, just so you know, this credit card has the best offer this year, the highest one I've ever seen in my lifetime, for 100,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points after spending $5,000 on the card in the first 3 months of opening it, which is a little bit different than the offer I got when I applied for this card back in 2021, almost 4 years ago now, where it was an offer in branch where you can actually walk in, get 100,000 points for $4,000 worth of spend, so $1,000 less than it is today, and they actually waive the annual fee, the 95 every year, for the first year. So I got a really good deal 4 years ago. I don't know if we're ever going to get that offer back, but this is technically points wise the highest offer I've ever seen possible. And I really do think it is a no brainer, considering if you just take the 100,000 points, and even if you don't even care about traveling, you cash that out into your account, 1 cent per point for $1,000 cash. It essentially pays the annual fee for 10 years. But of course, everybody in this space wants to use this for travel, transferring it out to partners, and having awesome vacations going forward. And so for anybody who has not gotten a Sapphire card, that being the preferred or the reserve, in the last 4 years, I mean, you are technically eligible to get this credit card for 100,000 points and 5K worth of spend. Honestly, personally, it's one of those cards I think it is a no-brainer. But even on top of that, what we want to get into is some of the secret things that I do on this card basically for the last year that have gotten me like an insane amount of value, way more than I ever got for the 3 years prior that I've owned this card. Now, firstly, again, like we mentioned, the card has an annual fee of $95. It's 95 every single year, but there's a couple perks and benefits that come along this card that usually get mocked. Now, the three different benefits that I want to isolate today have to do with the $50 hotel credit that a lot of people mock. There's actually a really good way to use this every single year to get a little bit more value out of that cash. Two is also the 3x back on the online grocery category. I'm going to show you some ways that I do that to actually get 3x back on my not online groceries, but literally in-person groceries. And then lastly, the 25% more value. We'll tie it all in with the Chase Travel Portal. But no, we're not redeeming all of our points this way, but I digress. We'll talk about it. Now, starting from the beginning, when I got this credit card, and like I said, I got the 100,000 point offer for 4K worth of spend back then, there was actually a big reason for that. And the reason was I was actually going to buy my wife's engagement ring. Some of you guys have heard this story before, but essentially, I realized that the ring that I wanted, the one that I wanted for her, was a little bit more expensive than I expected, the one that I anticipated. So, of course, me being a credit card addict, I wanted to get a credit card so this way I could put the ring on the credit card and get a welcome offer. Well, one of those cards to hit that ring welcome offer happened to be this one right here, the Sapphire Preferred. So no matter what happens to this card, it always has a special place for me, where I was able to just do one quick transaction on the ring, got my 100,000 points. And technically, if you actually extrapolate the value that I got from those 100,000 points over time for our hotel stays, I probably got, close to 20 to 30% return on that ring just in travel value, because I decided to buy the ring on a credit card. But that's it depends on what your reason is, but for me it was the diamond ring for getting engaged. But even at that time, 4 years ago, being a little bit more of a novice in this whole game, I actually used a lot of those points in not the most optimal way. Now, at that time, this card actually had an offer of pay yourself back for a certain amount of purchases, select charities, and Airbnb. And at that time, we were staying in Airbnbs a lot more often. And I found one that was in very close to the area we were going to get engaged in, Cape May, New Jersey. So what did I end up doing? I ended up redeeming 60,000 of those 100,000 points that I earned for an Airbnb stay for our engagement celebration. And while getting a 25% boost, taking my 60,000 points worth about $750 to cover that entire Airbnb purchase, obviously nowadays we know I could have stretched those 60,000 points to be worth $1,200, $1,800 worth of value. Probably even way more depending on some of these hotels we could actually book. But Cape May is also not a place that has hotels. It's a place that has Airbnbs. And something I would have done differently, which is something I did recently and how to stretch your points a little bit farther, which is the $50 hotel credit you get each anniversary year on hotel purchases through the Chase Travel portal on this card every single year. Now, in the past, a lot of people have mocked this credit, myself included, with it being kind of hard to use. And I've also on camera been a little bit crazy and booked quite literally a $50 hotel just to make a meme out of the whole when I stayed in a bad area of town in a Quality Inn and Suites, that was literally just $50 a night, and I did it for the memes. Which, yes, is one way to use that $50 credit to kinda recoup that $95 annual fee every single year, but what I have learned, and this year actually utilizing it in a better way, I was able to actually get more than just that $50 worth of value back, at least to me personally, in a slightly different way. Now, if you guys saw, I did this video right here where I actually stayed at a specific hotel through the Chase Travel portal for Valentine's Day in Asheville, North Carolina. This is a really nice hotel. More specifically, it was a hotel called Zelda Dearest. It had a lot of ties to Zelda Fitzgerald, Scott Fitzgerald's wife, all these different things with books. My wife's a book reader. And and so we really wanted to book this hotel, and there was no other way to book it other than cash. Or if I wanted to supplement with points, it's through the Chase Travel portal. Now I figured okay, it's about 30,000 points to actually book this hotel. Let's just use my Chase points. I got a ton of them now. Let's just enjoy it and not have to pay any cash for this experience. Now, initially when I was going to book that, it said it was about 37,000 points for the entire stay. So 35,000 points equals $375 in value plus the 25% boost through the portal. You get an extra $93, giving us a grand total of like $460 in cash from those 37,000 points. Now, at first I was going to foot that bill, but then I realized, wait a second, I can technically just go in the Chase Travel portal, like you see right here, and just pay the minimum amount that I would need so that I have $50 left over for this specific stay. So in this case, this ended up saving me about 5 to 6,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points because I opted to lower it to 32,000 points and leave $50 left. So this way I could pay cash for that $50 on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, which would then trigger the $50 hotel credit. And just doing a little bit of simple math on that alone, so saving that 5,000 points could just be equated to 1 cent per point, so $50 in value. But as you guys know, like in the past, I've gotten anywhere between 2 and 7 cents per point with my Hyatt points. So that could easily be multiplied by 2, easily multiplied by 3. You can easily get hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of savings just because you decided to opt in to go through the Chase Travel portal maybe once per year, use that $50, and it would save you a little bit of points. Now, again, is that worth actually diverting 30,000 points through the portal so this way you could just save a few thousand? No, for the most part it's not. But if you were somebody who actually likes to go through the Chase Travel portal anyway, is somebody that redeems points through there somewhat regularly for hotels, this might be one of the use cases to save a little bit of points in the meantime so you can use those for other purchases down the line. Now, again, you could always do what I did last year and go to a $50 hotel too. All right. I'm not going to knock you for that. And so for me, in my case, since I was going to book that hotel anyway via either cash or the points, I was happy to pay the points. I already had so many and I haven't thought about it since then, or at least that's just how I cope. But saving that 5 or 6,000 points from that $50 in cash actually did help somewhat substantially, I would say, because that's a whole nother hotel you could book through Hyatt, lower end, but still a whole other one you can book with those saved points. So a lot of caveats to a lot of things. But another way I've been able to maximize the Sapphire Preferred where most people don't or don't even know you can is in this particular way. The 3x points on online grocery purchases. That's right. The one that people have said is the most useless category for many, many years. I just happen to be raking in the dough from that. Now, how is that possible? Well, and so typically with the online grocery category, you basically have to pay for things like Instacart online, or you can do like the online shoppers and people can shop for you. You're just basically paying for your groceries online. You could have it delivered, or in some cases, you could actually pick it up. But there's actually a way that you can go in person to buy your groceries, pay with your Sapphire Preferred, and get 3x almost like you're just swiping, your Amex Gold card or what have you to get 3x back on all your groceries in some cases. Now, first and foremost, I always like to mention shout out to Chad's Money Minutes, where I first saw this video a couple of years ago, where Chad talked about this little trick that he used to get this done. So shout out to him. But essentially, down where I live, we have Publix. There's a couple different places that I'll talk about in a second, but at least in my case, Publix. So if you do Publix and you go to checkout, you could see sometimes there's a little QR code you could see right here. Here, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. So a little QR code right there. Essentially, all you do is on the Publix app itself, there's a section to preload your card. You make that your Sapphire preferred, and then in the phone app, there's an option to scan to pay. So when you go to actually check out, just like you can see on this guy's phone right here, you scan with your phone and it'll charge the credit card that's on your file. But even though you are in person, it does not code as if you're in person. It codes as if it's an online purchase just because it's on your online account. So you go to the store, buy your normal groceries at Publix, pay through this QR code, and you don't get 1x back on all of your purchases. No, you get 3x back on online grocery purchases. And for somebody like myself, since we bought the house, we're spending a little bit more on Publix, a little bit more recently for just basic necessities and whatnot. And we end up spending about $400 per month. So that's $400 per month times the 3x back category with my Sapphire Preferred, because it's all I use at Publix and it's the only store we really go to. That's 1,200 points per month, and that's 14,400 points every single year that I'm earning on my Sapphire Preferred. Now, again, if you're just valuing these points at 1 cent per point, of course, that's just going to be, $144 in cash value. But like everyone likes to mention, how much value are you really getting out of those points? I just did a redemption recently with Hyatt that was literally 7 cents per point. I'm not even going to do the math on that, but I could just assure you that the points that I'm earning with my Sapphire Preferred greatly outweigh the annual fee on the Sapphire Preferred every single year. Also, just mentioning that, like, okay, my goal right now is to kind of replenish a lot of my Chase points, more specifically my Hyatt points. So I'm trying to funnel all of my Chase points to Hyatt at the moment, just because I'm really enjoying Hyatt hotels. So this is the best way for me to do it personally. Obviously, if I was earning a different currency, I could earn more, like a 4x gold or 5x, percent back on a city custom cash. I don't even have that card, but there's a lot of different opportunities in this space to earn currencies. But at least right now, my goal is to just keep accumulating Chase UR. But if you have a card that's earning more than 3x with a lower annual fee and that works for you, perfect. I'm just sharing my goals at the moment. And if that works for you too, then perfect. But by no means is this the best possible way to earn. It's just for my use case at the moment. Okay, back to it. Without even factoring in using that $50 hotel credit, which I do intend to use almost every single year as well. So the online grocery category is kind of a game changer for me because I can earn like 3x on Chase UR points. I think a lot of people really would value over like, a 2x catch-all in some cases or what have you. But I really love it for that. And maybe I'm in the minority, but I love that. A lot of people also, if you go to Walmart, from what I hear, the Walmart Plus, the little scan and go feature they mentioned here, same exact thing. Preload your Sapphire Preferred QR checkout, and you could actually get 3x back on your Walmart purchases, which I think is also very, very interesting. Which, considering even mentioning here, excluding Target and Walmart and wholesale clubs, which I think is also very interesting. Which for that, I didn't personally do, but I have read it online, and a lot of comments from you guys actually mentioned that this worked. But the idea is just have a Walmart Plus membership. For those who have a platinum card, you have this, and then also go and use their scan and go feature. Have your Chase Sapphire Preferred preloaded. Apparently it codes, so it might be worth going to your local Walmart and trying that, at least for a test transaction, to see if you get 3x. Because, well, if you can get it, might as well get it if you have no other options. On top of that, also, Kroger is one of those places that also allows for QR in store. I think also Majors or Myers, however you actually say. Basically, even in the comments right down below, whatever your store is, and if it allows QR code, let us know if you've done this with your Sapphire Preferred and see if it codes correctly, because it's worth a shot. And especially, like we said, I think 3x back is kind of no slouch in the game of Ultimate Rewards points personally, or at least how I've been using them more recently. And so the only thing that sucks about these 100,000 points that you could earn on this card is they mentioned is this product is only available to you if you have not received a new card member bonus on any Sapphire card in the past 48 months. And it's been about 42 months for me. 42 months for me and about 40 months for my wife. I want this 100K again, but I have to wait until that 4-year mark to get it again. But on top of all of that, just adding all of the value together, you're talking $1,000 minimum from the welcome offer. You're talking, at least for me, about 15,000 points every single year just with my public spend, not even factoring in 3x back on dining purchases, which I didn't even mention whatsoever because we really don't eat out that much. The $50 hotel credit, which you could do a meme stay at $50, or just discount for you portal warriors to redeem your points through the portal, save some of your points through the $50 statement credit you get on this card itself for just a $95 annual fee. Honestly, I've really changed my mind on this card, as you can see, over the past few years, and it's why I actually end up never canceling it and never downgrading it. Now, when the 48 months comes around, I'm gonna downgrade it and then I'm gonna apply again. Hopefully 100K is at that time. Will it be around? Who really knows? That'll probably be around December. But just the fact that it just quite literally dropped on referral links, I think today, as I'm recording this video. If you're interested at all in this card whatsoever, and you don't have a friend or a wife or whoever, and you want to use somebody's referral link, well, consider Anthony Ventures. It's down in the pinned comment below. And if you do, it is much, much appreciated, and it definitely helps out all future vacations more and more. But again, use a friend, use a family member, but think about me every now and again. Just think. But if you want to see the actual $50 meme stay that I did for this Sapphire Preferred, where there was like weird people looking at me, it was like a dangerous area. But if you want to go through that entire weird experience with me at that $50 Roach Motel, check out the video right here. I hope to see you there. And thank you guys for being here all the way to the end. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. Have fun. Take care.